What's going on, YouTube? My name is JT, and welcome back to the Crypto Den. And today we have a very exciting piece of education here. I am going to do a continuation of my explanation regarding what a cryptocurrency is. If you haven't seen that video, please go back. Actually, you know what? I'll link it in the description. I'm going to learn how to do that today. Um, but ultimately, the last video we talked about how when you buy a cryptocurrency, again, that is only maybe 10, it's probably more. It's like 30, 40% of the market. I don't know. It's a random number I'm throwing out, but there are a lot of protocols, programs, whatever you want to call them, assets in the market that are not currency projects. Okay, currency is a function of the technology, one application among many that can exist using blockchain technology. So today, we're going to talk about what those currencies run on, or another way you could say it would be what what kind of network those currencies are used on, what ecosystem are these currencies accepted, etc. And if you watch my previous video, you'll get an idea of what I'm saying. But ultimately, we're going to cover what a blockchain is. Um, Not in the sense that I want you to be able to give a 1 hour lecture as a technical, expert on the concept. I want you to understand it functionally as a user. I just want you to understand what's going on, what you would be investing. I come here for or you come here, and I'm here today for practical advice. Unless you intend on becoming a Web3 consultant or developer or something like that, the majority are here for investment advice or something about what am I buying. My channel is here to help you understand what you are buying very specifically. And that's my only goal here, is to help you make better decisions for your life, your family, your future. Um, if I can do that, I'm having a great time doing this. So let's get right to it, shall we? I'm going to switch over to Paint here. Now, last time we discussed currencies. We drew an image, I don't know, kind of like this. And I apologize, my drawing is subpar here. But the currency, we'll just do this brief example for everyone. Let's say this is ETH. You're buying Ether, okay? If you don't know, Ether is the currency on the Ethereum blockchain, network, ecosystem, environment. So many, but the blockchain, Ethereum. Ether powers Ethereum. How does it power Ethereum? Again, in that video, we talk about how currencies are used from users to do transactions, things like that, interact with all of the decentralized apps that are built on the blockchain. All of these are going to use Ethereum's protocol and can transact with Ether, or these apps could have their own currencies. And that's basically what that video describes. Now, what we're going to do is talk about a blockchain. So, there we go, undo it all. Now, a blockchain is a lot of things. But again, for your investment thesis and purposes, you need to understand that it is essentially a network, no different than the internet. It is a network, but it's peer-to-peer. So instead of having like all of these massive pieces of hardware, okay, in Web 2 and the real world, the internet as of today, until Starlink's fully operational, we got it floating around us, which is crazy. But it's actual physical wires. Like, you can Google this. It's physical wires that are powering these massive stations that then have distribution into wide access. These are called WANs. And then the WANs go into locals. They're called LANs, local area network. Okay? This is where you start having your like Wi-Fi adapters into specific homes and things like that. This is how the internet works today. Okay? This is called a monolithic network, or where a company or an entity like the government owns all of the hardware, all of the things that go into providing that service. Peer-to-peer, same thing. However, since we as users now have a lot of really cool stuff, for example, really powerful computers in our pocket that we carry around all day, and they only get better over time thanks to Moore's Law. Love how that works. So as these devices get stronger and stronger, the laptops get more GPU and all this other stuff, the networks only grow stronger. But instead of all that monolithic structure, you're just going to have me, you, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, and we're all going to work together like this. We're all connected to one another. It gets a little wild when you start making all of the connections here. But does that make sense? And it keeps going. Every user that gets turned on, that's connected, that's connected, that's connected, that's connected, that's connected, and that's connected. And then that's just going to be connected to that, and to that, and to that, and then into this, and to this, and to this, and to this. As you can see, it gets pretty crazy. It actually starts looking like a brain a little bit. Maybe that's a coincidence. I don't know. Pretty interesting. However, peer-to-peer networks literally mean just user to user, peer to peer. Our devices are going to be interconnected, and we're all going to share some form of computing power and storage amongst all of us. Okay, that's a peer-to-peer network. The really cool thing about that, the second piece to blockchain, is in a peer-to-peer network, we also have a distributed ledger technology. I know that's a lot, but just hold on. The basic idea is we are going to spread data across each device, okay? So when we go back to this structure here, and I wish they had an undo all button. My God, this takes forever. I apologize here. All right, so let's say we have one piece of data, and let's say it is, we'll make it very simple. It's a transaction, okay? One person bought something, the other person sold it, and it's peer-to-peer. It's one to another. This transaction is going to be recorded, okay? And instead of it going to a server that's owned by Amazon, that then goes to some WAN, or it's powered by a WAN and all that other stuff, right? That we talked about. Instead, it goes into, first it's between the peers, but then this transaction is going to be split. Let's say this is 1 megabyte. It's going to be smaller, but let's just say it's 1 megabyte. You're basically going to break this up into, the smallest fragment possible. All right, we're going to send this 0.00000 repeating 1 byte is going to go into one phone, right? And then it's going to keep going into all of these users, all of these peers. We all share this information, okay? It's a distributed method of storage. Not only do we store the data or the metadata for this transaction, we also store the actual transaction on a ledger. So we can actually go look at that transaction that happened on a network that we collectively own. Really freaking cool, okay? The equivalent of that would be like you being able to see every transaction that happened through your commercial bank where you put your money, okay? Just the transparency is nice. If you wanted to think about how much capital that bank had, like if you had a lot of money in there, if they could actually do as they swore, promised, etc., whenever you put your money in there, like the FDIC insurance, for example, or something like that, okay? So a blockchain peer-to-peer network shares all the data, all the computing power across every device, and then also has its own ledger where all the transactions are recorded. Very cool stuff. If I were to go to etherscan.io, this is the ledger I was talking about. I know it's a little disorienting here, but you can see every transaction being done on the Ethereum blockchain between peers. Okay, literally every transaction is public. See how much gas they paid, which is basically the cost of the transaction. The person that validated it, that's another thing we got to get into. But essentially, to make these transactions, actually, we'll get into it right now. So a reward is Ethereum, you got to remember, is proof of stake. I'll cover all of the consensus methods on this channel, but for the time being, this is proof of stake. So a device was either chosen at random or all of us were collectively chosen, whatever it is, to validate or decrypt the transaction, because it's all encrypted. On a blockchain, every transaction, everything entirely is encrypted. The computer has to solve that encryption or decrypt it by solving a very complicated math problem or some kind of algorithm. And then once it does that and it finds the transaction to be true, and a bunch of other validators, right, do the same exact thing, they get a reward. They actually get paid in Ether. That's how one of the ways you can make money passively in crypto. You stake enough of the currency on a blockchain to become a validator. That means you have enough stake in the network to start doing that. And in return, you're going to be rewarded for validating transactions. It's pretty freaking cool. And proof of work, the equivalent would be mining, which we do with Bitcoin right now. We used to mine Ether, but we don't need to anymore because proof of work is old, outdated, slow, and poor. But there are some very unique utilities for a currency like Bitcoin that is that slow, which would be a store of value. Another reason why my hypothesis or theory is it'll just be a store of value. It'll sit on the books. It can only do however many. Its throughput is trash. I think it's double digits. I think it's 30 a second or something. It's actually trash. But that means it'll move a lot of money, not a little, and it means it'll hold that money for a long period of time, especially with the supply cap. So, anyways, that's what the reward is. You'll see here that, that's what the public ledger looks like. And that really does kind of come down to the final analysis or the final understanding you all need to know. So let's do a quick summary before I close it out here. Instead of a monolithic structure, right, where you have a bunch of hardware owned by a single entity, and it is graciously given to us in the sense of the internet currently, or provided to us as a service. We basically have all of our hardware in our back pockets. It's a peer-to-peer network. My phone participates just a little amount into the network, as does yours and everything else that you're running Web3 technology on. In addition to that, we all store each other's stuff, but we can't see it because it's encrypted. If you wanted to see it, you'd have to own, I think in a proof of stake, it's 34% of every device, or at least have access to 34% of every device, so you can get a majority on the transactions. I believe that'd be a bad actor hack, and it would be impressive with the networks and the blockchains are growing in user bases as fast as they are. It's millions of devices, so it's incredibly safe. It's in addition, you can make a lot of money buying the right one. Our hypothesis or thesis really is going to be, again, we don't pick the horse. We don't pick the horse. We don't speculate in bonk if you watch my weekly update. We don't do that. But we own Solana. Guess who made 34% in Solana doing nothing? While bonk made 1,000%, that's fine. But there's going to be 1,000 bonks over the next decade. And if you own the racetrack, you're not going to lose nearly as much. You have more to gain, less to worry about. Namaste. Relax. When you buy the horse track, you don't really care which horse races. Everyone's buying tickets from you. That's the idea. But now you understand the horse track. Hopefully, just a little bit better. It is a life-changing method of storing stuff and transacting information in the devices, and everything. Just the way it works is just infinitely better than the way we currently do it. It's going to rock the foundations of our financial system. It just will. It's been doing it. It will continue to do it. The advancements that are possible through this distributed ledger technology is very exciting. So let me know, please. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if this was helpful, if this is something you liked learning about. It would mean the world to me. And I'll be here every Sunday giving you all I can all the time, delivering value and hopefully making you just relax. If you're still here watching this video, watching videos like this, creators like me, pat yourself on the back. This is the hardest but most important time to be investing in anything, but especially this space. Especially, there's so much FUD. Just stay strong, stay positive. It's an exciting time. Just wait. That's it.